I'm Caleb Kidd Coy, Epic Legacy Hero Builder, and I'd like to welcome you to Living Like a Bank. Along with myself, you'll hear from other successful experts and people who are busy serving and empowering many lives. You'll see how we're showing others to become debt-free in record time as they build economic discipline while generating a bulletproof family legacy revenue stream together. We'll learn how to live and operate just like the banks do. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the all-new Living Like a Bank podcast. As always, I'm your host, Caleb Kidd Coy, and it's been an exciting week. I've got to say, to watch the amount of education that we get to shell out to people in the banking industry. I mean, isn't it a trip that we get to educate bankers on banking? Bankers, realtors, brokers, and professionals and everyday Americans all across the board are learning how to operate like the banks do, eliminate their debt, and build themselves a healthy retirement income stream. And it's exciting. So we've got another great guest with us today. Mr. Lane Detsouvanh is here with us today. Lane, how you doing, brother?
Very good. And thank you for the invite.
Dude, I am just pumped to have you with us today. Thanks for allocating the time to do this. You've got a really unique background and history. We had a brief phone call chat, and I got to learn a little bit more about you. But take a few minutes to tell us about yourself and your history and your background, and then we'll kind of move into where you are today and what you're doing these days.
Sure, of course. Well, originally I'm naturally born in the country of Laos. If anyone knows that area, it would be Southeast Asia between Thailand and Vietnam, surrounded by 5 countries, landlocked. Real small country, maybe the size of Nevada. And what brought me to America was because of the Vietnam War. My dad, he fought with the American side, so they would literally kill him and put the rest of our family members in a concentration camp. So we had to literally run for the border or actually cross the Mekong River to Thailand. And from there, we're refugees until we were fortunately sponsored by 3 Christian church families. And then we got to America in the early 80s, actually like February 1980. And to give back, and that's why I and my younger brother served in the U.S. Army in the aviation. And from there, I got to work on aircrafts and work for Department of Defense. But because of what happened in 2008, that might have affected a lot of people. When the market crashed, it got me real good where literally, full disclosure, I had to file bankruptcy. There's no way I could keep up with all those back taxes for nothing I even own. It's like 10 years, 20 countries. So because of that experience and coming from a country that I was born less fortunate, we didn't come from silver spoons. And, they call it third world for a reason. And then also working overseas in the war zone, seeing other people suffer financially, to include our own background, in U.S. here. When I traveled a lot helping clients, I see how others also suffer financially. So all said and done, I see a lot of hardship, and it was my true calling to help people with their finances. That's what brought me into the financial world. That's pretty much brief background.
Wow, what a powerful background and history, Lane. I mean, you've come a long way, no doubt about it. And I can sense the resolve and the resilience that it's created in you, right? The determination. And I think we all bear witness to that in your everyday motives and in your endeavors. So I'm excited for who you are as a person, but the level that you are serving other people too is very, very powerful in my opinion. So tell me a bit about how and why you ended up in this particular industry where we've all met up.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, when the '08 crash, it got me really good because I made all that money for those years overseas working for Department of Defense. Again, full disclosure, there was 6-figure income for a young guy like me at around age 30, 31. I didn't have any financial literacy. We didn't learn what I know now in the school or the military about there's other banking strategies that avoid market losses and taxes on the growth and usage. So pretty much I had to find out the hard way. And now when I know that secret, like, wow, I got to share this with other people so they don't suffer. So that's my true passion, is to show compassion to others, that there is a way out, and you can learn the easy way from other people's experience, like myself, for the mistakes to avoid or minimize, and or to succeed as much or even more than me. So that's why I have a team of agents that I would love them to surpass me. 'Cause that's like, yes, I helped that person see. That's the legacy I want to leave behind.
Well said, Lane. And that's the heart of a true mentor and leader. So I love and appreciate about you. So we've seen these two extremes that you've lived through, right? The extreme poverty on one end, then you did very well financially. You and I discussed this briefly on the phone. We both suffered at one or more points in our lives, right? A major financial loss. And that shapes a lot about our DNA and who we can or can become. So obviously, you experienced and had to confront the fears of lack, of poverty, if you will. And you also had to confront what it means to have a lot and how that can potentially cause you to be a bit of a different person. Would you talk to us a little bit about that in your identity? How had the extreme poverty and then going from being, very successful and wealthy and lose it all again impact your character as a person?
Character, my fundamentals, just like my background, virtual background here, as long as you stay true to yourself and true to others, challenges always come and go. Don't ever change your fundamentals, which is be integrity, right? Show integrity. Always do what's right, no matter who's looking or not. And because of that, I stay very disciplined to avoid, I guess, being in jail. I mean, I don't even drink alcohol. How about that? And that's by preference. And also, I don't smoke, and I'm not saying for others to do or not do. Do what you can handle. Just don't hurt others while you're doing it. And for the fundamentals, I always stay with my roots to respect others while you respect yourself, and that comes down with honesty. So no one needs to exaggerate or lie or hurt others to get to what you call temporary success.
I love that we share so many of those values, Lane. It's so powerful. The integrity there and the transparency that you're sharing with us is very impactful, I think, for a lot of our listeners out there today to realize, right, you can do things the right way in a world where it seems like so many people out there are willing to walk all over others and throw people off to the side. You can do things the right way, operate in honesty, integrity, and have character and build a successful life. So, Lane, I know you're eager to get into this and how it's impacted you personally, but let's talk about some of these strategies. You made the joke about staying out of jail and doing things the right way, but obviously we're talking about a strategy, a product, or a service that's been vetted, right? It stood the test of time. It works because banks have been around for a pretty long time. So why don't you talk to us a bit about these strategies that you love utilizing so much? I mean, you joked because you had an 11 o'clock appointment last night? And I'm like, dude, you're
Uh,
burning the midnight oil. So obviously you're enjoying what you're doing. So talk to us about it.
yes, I do, because I am independent. I work with several agencies, and of course, no one's my boss except myself. And I can pick and choose the clients who I work with, because at the end of the day, it's up to them whether they choose to work with us or not. So it goes both ways. So my true mission and vision is to share the facts and then leave them with their choices of whether they want to use it or not. Because, knowledge is only powerful if you use it, right? Because you could talk all day and tell them how to solve their problem. But at the end of the day, if they don't take that action, it won't happen.
100%.
So the strategies that I inform them are based pretty much what the banks have been doing and also technology. And if you combine both, you'll get to your goals a lot faster, but also safer. As I mentioned before, We don't want you to lose your money. I've been there, done that. You don't have to lose 6 7 figures like I did and owe a whole bunch of back taxes. Okay. So I'm talking about from my own experience. And now we have products and strategies that can avoid market losses, taxes, and technology to guide you so you don't have to do your own computation, do your own math, try to write everything down on an Excel spreadsheet, trying to guess, if I want to be debt free quicker, which one should I do? Pay extra to the higher interest or the higher balance? For example, we use technology like calculator and GPS for accuracy and convenience to be physically point A to point B to get there. Then why not with our financial goals? Because it's also AI technology. That way we don't have to guess. And it also can forecast what if you want to do something else in the future. Let's say have another baby, build another home, or rent another property, go overseas, stuff like that. That way you can run future planning and it'll tell you can afford to do it, the cause and effect, how much it's going to cost you to delay it, or maybe it'll speed things up because you open another business or bring in another cash flow.
Sounds like you're talking about a financial GPS system there, Lane.
That's correct.
Pretty darn powerful in my opinion. And I love that you brought up the, let's call it the technological revolution and the emergence of AI, right? A lot of people, obviously, we don't realize, I don't think the average everyday public, and how many different ways we're utilizing AI and technology. And so you've got the people that are afraid of it, right? Okay, robots are going to take over the world. We don't know what the future holds, right? But at the same time, this is empowering our everyday lives in an extraordinary way. And like I got no problem with somebody or something smarter than me doing the thinking for me, especially if it's in my best interest. So what would you say to people who maybe are still a little timid about AI and technology's involvement in our everyday lives, especially on the financial side?
Well, it would be a hypocrisy, if I can be frank, because if you were trusted GPS to guide you from point A to point B driving wise, then why not your financial goal? Especially you don't have to link all your accounts if you don't want to. Because some people do take advantage, for example, like QuickBooks software to track all your transactions. That's optional, but the software we're talking about here, it's a guidance system. That way, it's real-time convenience and accuracy. When you use it, it not only track what you've done, it keep recalculating and guide you what to do 3 months in advance. And again, not just the past to show the cause and effect, but what else you want to plan to do in the future. It's very easy to use. Of course, with new technology to people who are never heard of it, they can have skepticism. That means they care about their money and time, right? But that's why you get on the appointment and find out who we are and how these strategies work. And then when you get the gist of it, oh, okay, works just like a GPS. It's very easy to use. That's the third step.
Excellent point, Lane. And it brings about the idea that what we are not familiar with or what we don't understand can often scare and intimidate us, right? Let's just be real. That's human nature there. So the best way to overcome that, in essence, it sounds like what you're telling us, is to get the proper education, to get informed, right? To understand how these things work, because we don't know what we don't know. So in all these pieces of this intricate puzzle, and it really is an incredible puzzle that brings together this extraordinary legacy picture, what are the aspects of the technology, of the products that you personally like the best?
Well, like for myself, I had back taxes. And when I was introduced to this about 3 years ago, I was like, wow, this is awesome. Now I don't have to guess anymore. All I have to do is just follow the directions. All you do is confirming your transactions at minimum once a week. Daily is even better if you got hundreds of transactions per week. So again, using it is the easiest part. Understanding it, because first time new, is the toughest challenge. In between, you're going to get assistance from headquarters or myself. I voluntarily help all my clients set up their software and help them execute it. I'm not that guy where, okay, you bought the product, good luck, I don't see you anymore.
Mm.
No, I'm here with you to walk with you until you're like, yes, now I understand it. Oh, I love it. I'm going to share it with others. And that's why, as when serving the service, sometimes I stay up for 3 days or 2 weeks. Now, of course, that's when I'm younger, a lot greater shape, 100 pounds ago in my prime. Now I'm almost 50 by next year. So I can't do much physical except staying up, but I'm not going to stay up for 2 weeks like I did before. But I do now, full disclosure, 7 days a week, 6 in the morning till maybe 2 a.m. sometimes,
Mhm.
but on average till midnight. And that's 7 days a week. So in other words, I do go above and beyond without trying to pat myself on the back, because this is my mission, is the vision that I want to help others by showing them facts so they can inform themselves to help themselves. And of course, only if they use it.
Yes, exactly. Well, I do deeply appreciate that about you, Lane, that you are service oriented. And that is ultimately the heart of true sales, is that sales is a service. And again, I think what drew us all together in many, many ways, and the vetting, I would say, for agents is this aspect that you are walking with your client, with your customer to serve them on a regular, consistent basis. It's not, okay, we're going to make a sale and we're going to say goodbye, see you in the future, maybe again, or see you next year. But it's a regular, consistent process, and I think that means a lot to the individuals, the couples, the families that we're working with. What is some of the feedback that your clients and customers have given you over the years, Lane, that you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, obviously, true appreciation because of my sacrifice. Because I told them, headquarters, they open 9 in the morning to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. But if you don't have time to install or set up or any other questions, who's going to be there for you but myself here? Because I'm available 7 days a week as long as they give me a heads up and I could book appointment. Whether they're in Hawaii, because I'm from Florida, so that's why I said I'm willing to sacrifice to serve. And I did that for the military, so why not for our own community for their financial situations and goals?
I love that line. I see some elements in who you're becoming, who you are, your personality, that we talked about, this resolve and this resilience that I can, see is clearly reflected in your person and in your character. What would you say from a mindset point of view? Because I think there's a strength that you've acquired, right? Overcoming the fear of essentially losing your life as a young child, right? Getting out from persecution and things like that, to moving into the military and the various things that you had to confront and overcome there. I would say you've got a pretty powerful mindset. What would you say to folks that are maybe struggling with the fears or self-worth, or they don't feel like they deserve to get out of debt, make money, or even be wealthy, which, as you and I know, that opportunity is all there? What would you say to folks like that?
Well, first and foremost is admit the facts. If you have a problem, admit it and then ask for help. Because there's a lot of people like myself who are willing to help. That's what we're here for, financial services, to help them. But if they don't admit they have problems or challenges, then obviously we won't connect, right? Because perhaps they're too scared, or maybe the ego, they know everything. Again, we can't help each other if you're not willing to be honest to yourself, because everybody have certain levels of challenges and issues. That's part of life. So when the fear is because usually lack of knowledge. So how do you solve it? Well, get the knowledge, get the facts. You know, just here, let me give you an example. Like we train in military, you know, certain routes we're not supposed to take because it's not clear. So how do you know it's safe enough for the troops to travel that way? We get the facts first, right? We have intel to find out what's going on, clear all the road from the IED explosive, this and that. And then you have escort, like Apache helicopters. That's what I worked on in aviation. And now you not only you have the facts, but you also have a financial coach like myself here to help you use those facts. to succeed. So it's a teamwork. It's not just, okay, product oriented. I sold it to you and we're done.
I love that, Lane. It's the right approach. It's the approach of integrity, and I think that means a lot to people that are saying, I'm leery about working with the right person, or how do I know this advisor or this agent is right for me? And so I think you said it all in those few statements there. So again, deep appreciation from me, from us, for everything that you have done and continue to do in your service of others, and just excited for you, man, and for the people that you're bringing into your circle of influence, and for the opportunity for us all to work together. Let's talk about, because I know you learned a lot about this in the military, and you referenced this a moment ago, that team approach in our industry. There's a lot of Lone Ranger mindset, right? It's a free for all. Guys just out there. Yeah, I want to get mine. I want to get the next big commission or whatever. But I see so much more power in collaboration, in working together to create, common goals and success. Because at the end of the day, I know you share this with me in many ways, that when you win, Lane, I win. When I win, you win. When the people around us are winning, we're all winning. So why wouldn't we want to empower you? So let's talk a little bit about the direction that you're going in building out a team, and how maybe it looks different from some of the stereotypes within the insurance industry.
Again, because of lack of knowledge, a lot of people who are misinformed, whether intentionally or unintentionally, will have that fear or maybe bad experience from certain agents or whatever it is. I'm not there, so I can't defend or admit who did wrong. But at the end of the day, you have choices, you have options. So what I help with, and I practice what I preach, is, of course, get the facts. That's why when I start my appointment, I always let them know I'm real. I turn on my camera. Here's my background. Here's my credentials. Here's the companies I work with. They've been around over almost 200 years on the insurance side. The software over 20 years. Here's their track record. Here's my track record if you want to see. Okay, here's my licenses. So let's clear that out first, because people will only do business with the people they trust. So look me up. I'm on LinkedIn, no problem. Okay, and then of course to share with clients or agents, you always got to be honest. If you don't know, say you don't know.
Yes.
And of course, you share the facts. What's in the contract? Because whether people are serious or curious while they come on the appointment with me to find out what we do, it doesn't matter if it's an advisor, entertainer on TV, which most of them are not licensed. There's licensed professionals. Maybe there's trusted advisors, friends, or family. Anyone can say anything, but at the end of the day, what does the product do? What's in the contract? And that's what I tell anyone who gets on my appointment. I don't need to lie or exaggerate, and I won't. It's not worth it. So let's just share what we can learn from each other and look at the facts, and then now you do what you want with the info. Pretty much. And that goes for all, whether I'm building a team or I am helping a potential new client.
Love that, Lane. We're here to learn, to grow, to evolve together, and in a lot of ways, to pivot and to adapt together. And I think what brought us together is the massive changes that we've seen in our world over recent years, right? And the necessity to make these digital adaptations, right? And we're meeting with clients all over the country virtually, right? Digitally. It doesn't matter if they're in our backyard or not. So in a lot of ways, you answered this question at various points in time during our interview, Lane, in talking about why clients and agents choose to work with you and these companies that you represent. And you highlighted some extraordinary strength points, some powerful ways that you're doing things differently as an individual, and the companies that we work with are doing things differently. Is there anything else that you would like to add to that in why clients and agents might choose you over, working with somebody else that you haven't already said?
Well, maybe I didn't say the word transparency,
Mm-hmm.
dedication, I'm willing to be flexible to work with them, whether it's 3 in the morning because we're different time zone. I'm there, just and or whatever it is. Like I used to, literally, I drove 6,000 miles a month before I started using technology, doing Zoom. Zoom was new to me about a year and a half ago.
Mm,
But other than that, I was physically driving around to serve because, and I still do, believe it or not, because there are certain clienteles who don't trust being online to do any business, even though they're going to have to anyway, right? Because some of the products we have are online, like the technology or life insurance policies. But in the beginning, the trust there. If they need me to be there in person to reassure them I'm real, I'm there. Here's an example of sacrifice. I'll stay at a restaurant 12 hours waiting for them because they're too tired or they want to spend time with their family when they leave work. So I'm there with them and they know I came from far away to be there for them. And then when the business slow, we can continue going over the business where they're explaining the product and or applying for the product. And that's the sacrifice of flexibility I had done and been doing and still continue to do. So I still travel.
good stuff, Lane. Be willing to do, try, and learn new things is what you're saying. I love you made a reference to, I think it's Napoleon Hill who teaches a principle, the art of doing more than what you're paid to do. Guys, if you want to succeed, you got to do more than the average Joe. You got to be willing to learn more. And as Lane so eloquently said a number of different times, take that knowledge and apply it so that you get into action. And let's kind of finish and wrap this up, Lane, in talking about getting into action, because every day we witness folks who have been on the fence, they're procrastinating, they're afraid to do anything, whether they're just somebody trying to get out of debt or maybe an up-and-coming entrepreneur who wants to find extraordinary success. As we close here, what are the thoughts that you would leave with somebody about what they need to do to get into action today, right here and now?
Well, first step is if they're here watching, that's the beginning. But then they got to get more information, right? So book an appointment, for example, like someone, myself, or our team of agents. And then from that info, move on to the next appointment. See what you can do when you get your depth analysis, find out what kind of protection you need. And that's why I'm a financial strategist, because I don't just know certain awesome products. It's how to put it in the right sequence where you can accomplish it all. When I say accomplish it all, what I mean is not only to be debt-free a lot quicker, but you can also make money at the same time so you can retire earlier while you're protecting your family, your money, and yourself as well, and not end up with one, but maybe multiple streams of income.
Right on, Lane. Well, brother, man, I sincerely appreciate you taking time with us today. Guys, if you haven't already, go to Living Like a Bank on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. You'll find all of the podcast channels. You can go across the board, anywhere podcasts are listed, and find the Living Like a Bank podcast. Once again, Lane, we appreciate you taking the time. Guys, get out there. Action always trumps procrastination. Do what you need to do, especially if it scares you. Confront your fears and get moving. Hope you guys have a blessed weekend. As always, thank you for taking the time to be with us. Make sure you go out and share this with friends, loved ones, and people who need to have this information. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Lane.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please be sure you subscribe on YouTube or the podcast on anchor.fm and follow me on social media at Metalpreneur. If you're ready to talk about building your own bank, use the QR code or go to rebrand.ly/buildabank. Be sure and join us for the next broadcast as together we learn to live and operate just like the banks do.